When we talk about desires, what do we truly mean? Desires are not just fleeting wants or the impulses that drive us to chase material success or pleasure. They are profound expressions of our inner energy, forces waiting to be harnessed. But what happens when desires remain unfulfilled? Do they simply vanish, or do they linger, taking a different shape, serving a different purpose? I want you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, what is the one thing I've always wanted but never achieved? Hold that thought. Feel its weight. What does it stir within you? Is it frustration, regret, longing? Or is it something subtler, like a quiet yearning or a sense of unfinished business?
This is the hidden energy of unfulfilled desires, the same energy that can elevate you to heights you've never imagined, if only you learn to channel it. Unfulfilled desires often feel like a wound. They haunt us in moments of quiet and emerge in unexpected ways, influencing our decisions and shaping our lives. But what if I told you that this lingering energy is not your enemy, but your greatest ally? When you resist the urge to suppress or escape from your unfulfilled desires, you begin to unlock a wellspring of inner power. Think of it like a river obstructed by rocks. The water builds pressure, and eventually that pressure can be used to carve through mountains. But how do you tap into this hidden energy? The first step is awareness.
You must confront your desires honestly and ask, why do I want this? Is it for my ego or is it for my soul? Desires rooted in ego often bring fleeting satisfaction, while those born from the soul align with your higher purpose. Recognizing the difference is the beginning of transformation. Now let's go deeper. Consider this. Every unfulfilled desire creates a tension within you, and this tension is not random. It exists because it holds the potential to teach you something essential about your journey. Think back to the greatest struggles in your life. How many of them stem from wanting something you couldn't have? And how often did those struggles push you to grow, to evolve, to become someone you never thought you could be?
Here's a practical exercise for you. Write down your 3 biggest unfulfilled desires. Be brutally honest. Then, for each desire, ask yourself, what has this taught me about myself? You might be surprised by the answers. Often we find that our deepest longings reveal our greatest fears. And by confronting those fears, we discover a strength we didn't know we had. But let's not stop here. I want you to reflect on this question. If you were to fulfill every desire you've ever had, would you truly be happy? Take your time with this. It's a deceptively simple question, but the answer can change everything.
When we speak of unfulfilled desires, there's a profound misunderstanding we often carry. We assume that the ache of not having is inherently negative, a flaw in our life's design that must be fixed. But what if that ache is a divine mechanism placed within us to awaken something far greater?
To transmute unfulfilled desires into spiritual fuel, we must first recognize the sacredness of the longing itself. Think about it. What is a desire really? At its core, it's energy, pure, raw, and vibrant, and like all energy, it cannot be destroyed, only transformed. Yet many of us allow this energy to stagnate. We focus on what we lack, obsess over what we could have done differently, or blame circumstances for our unfulfilled dreams. In doing so, we miss the most important truth. That same energy can propel us toward transcendence if we let it.
You might wonder, how can the pain of unfulfilled desires become a force for elevation? The answer lies in transmutation. In alchemy, base metals are transformed into gold. In spirituality, the raw energy of longing can be refined into clarity, wisdom, and purpose. But this process isn't automatic. It requires your conscious participation.
Let me ask you a challenging question. When you think about your unfulfilled desires, do you feel shame, anger, or do you feel gratitude for the lessons they've brought you? The answer to this question reveals whether you are resisting or embracing the transformative potential of your desires. Resistance keeps you stuck in a loop of suffering, while acceptance opens the door to growth.
Here's the paradox. Unfulfilled desires are never truly unfulfilled. They manifest in unexpected ways, often guiding you towards something deeper and more meaningful than what you initially sought. Imagine planting a seed, only to find that instead of growing into the tree you expected, it blossoms into a completely different kind of life. Would you see this as a failure or as a gift? Now, let's get practical. How do you actually transmute the energy of unfulfilled desires? Start with meditation. Sit in stillness and bring one unfulfilled desire to mind. Don't judge it or try to analyze it. Instead, focus on the feeling it creates in your body. Where do you feel tension? Where do you feel heat or heaviness? These sensations are the raw energy of desire.
As you breathe deeply, imagine this energy moving upward from your lower chakras, where desires are often rooted, to your heart and then to your mind. Visualize it transforming into light, into insight, into strength. But transformation doesn't stop with visualization. It requires action. Take the energy of your unfulfilled desires and channel it into something constructive. For instance, if you've always wanted to write a book but haven't, use that longing to fuel a creative project, even if it's unrelated. The act of creating redirects the energy, giving it purpose and momentum.
And here's something profound. The moment you begin to channel this energy, you'll notice a shift. The desire itself may lose its grip on you, not because you've let it go, but because you've allowed it to evolve. It's as though the energy, once stagnant, finally finds its flow, and in doing so, it uplifts you. Now, I want to ask you another question, one that demands honesty. What would you do with your life if the concept of failure didn't exist?
This question is key because unfulfilled desires often carry the weight of perceived failure. By removing that weight, you liberate yourself to explore what those desires are truly asking of you.
Remember, the energy of unfulfilled desires is not meant to be suppressed or ignored. It's meant to be felt, understood, and transformed.
Think of it as a compass, pointing you toward areas of growth you might otherwise avoid. When you embrace this energy fully, you unlock a level of creativity, resilience, and insight that can elevate every aspect of your life.
The spiritual awakening, hidden in desire's shadow. As we delve deeper into the hidden energy of unfulfilled desires, a profound realization emerges. These desires are not merely obstacles or distractions, they are doorways.
Behind every longing lies a question, and behind every question a revelation. To walk through these doorways requires courage, but the rewards are immense. A spiritual awakening that reshapes not just what you seek, but who you are.
Let me pose a question. What if your deepest unfulfilled desire was never meant to be fulfilled in the way you imagine? Sit with that for a moment. Often, we assume that achieving a desire is the ultimate goal. But what if the purpose of desire is not fulfillment, but transformation?
What if the true gift of longing is the journey it takes you on, the lessons it teaches you, and the strength it forces you to cultivate? Consider this. Desires that remain unfulfilled often illuminate the gaps in our inner world. They reveal where we are clinging too tightly to an identity, a story, or an expectation, and in doing so, they offer us the opportunity to grow beyond those limitations.
Unfulfilled desires act as mirrors, reflecting back the parts of ourselves that are still in need of healing or expansion. But this is where it gets even more fascinating. When you stop seeing unfulfilled desires as problems to solve and start seeing them as invitations to evolve, something extraordinary happens.
The desire itself transforms. It no longer feels like a burden or a source of pain. Instead, it becomes a catalyst, a spark that ignites a deeper connection to your higher self. So, how do we access this spiritual awakening hidden in the shadow of desire?
The first step is surrender. And let me be clear, surrender does not mean giving up. It means releasing the need to control or predict the outcome of your desires. When you surrender, you allow life to reveal a path that is often far greater than the one you envisioned.
Ask yourself this: have I been so focused on achieving my desires that I've missed the beauty of the process? Many of us live in a state of when I get this job, I'll be happy. When I find love, I'll feel complete. When I achieve success, I'll be fulfilled. But this mindset keeps us perpetually chasing, never arriving.
The truth is, fulfillment doesn't come from the destination. It comes from the awareness you cultivate along the way. To awaken spiritually through desire, you must shift your focus from having to becoming. What kind of person would you need to become to align with your desires? This question changes everything because it moves the power from external circumstances to your internal growth.
For example, if you desire love, ask yourself, am I embodying love in my daily life? If you desire success, ask, am I living with the discipline and vision that success requires? Another powerful practice is gratitude, not just for what you have, but for what you don't have. This may seem counterintuitive, but it's deeply transformative.
Gratitude for unfulfilled desires acknowledges their role as teachers. It recognizes that every longing, every ache, is shaping you into someone wiser, stronger, and more compassionate. I want you to try something radical. The next time you feel the pang of an unfulfilled desire, instead of resisting it, lean into it.
Say to yourself, thank you for this longing. Thank you for reminding me of what I'm capable of. Thank you for guiding me toward my highest potential. Notice how this changes your relationship with the desire. Notice how it shifts from being a source of pain to a source of power.
Finally, let's address the ultimate question. What is the purpose of desire in the grand scheme of life? Is it to accumulate, to achieve, to conquer?
Or is it to awaken, to connect, to create? When we view desire through a spiritual lens, we see that its purpose is not to make us complete, but to remind us that we already are.
The longing we feel is not for something outside of ourselves. It is for the realization of the infinite potential within. You see, unfulfilled desires are not curses. They are blessings in disguise.
They challenge us to grow, to evolve, and to transcend the illusions of lack and limitation. They push us to discover the vast reservoir of creativity, resilience, and wisdom that lies dormant within us.
And in doing so, they elevate us, not to a place of material satisfaction, but to a state of spiritual awakening. So, I leave you with this. What would your life look like if you embraced every unfulfilled desire as a gift?
How would you move, think, and create differently if you saw longing not as a problem, but as a path? Reflect on this and let it guide you toward the awakening that is already unfolding within you.
This is your journey. This is your elevation. And the hidden energy of your unfulfilled desires is the key to unlocking it all.